Hey everyone, feeling a little bit better? Hello, hello. Thanks for hanging. You can see I am back in my bathrobe with a very cool wrap. I think I'm going to start a trend. What do y'all think? It's like sexy hand support. Anyway, there's 329 of us, so I'll start by just saying hello to everybody. Well, he won Pennsylvania, so in the end it doesn't matter, but yeah, it'd be nice. He won Pennsylvania, we know, because this is something that we knew was going to happen, and a lot of people didn't understand it, which is that the Republicans and the independent votes were counted first. And so if you take most independents and some Democrats, but the majority of Democrats mailed in the vote. So it was a skew because Trump wanted Republicans to vote the day of, so that those were the votes that were counted first, and then it would look like he had won, and then they started in on the mail-in ballots, and then chip away. And people were calling Senate races way too soon. They were. I think when all is said and done, he'll take Pennsylvania, Nevada, and I still believe he'll take Arizona, but who knows? Texas, I think. Excuse me, let me get some water. I think there's something weird in the Texas vote, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think there was also a lot of voter suppression. I think there's still a lot of ballots unaccounted for all over the country. Sitting at drop boxes, they're just missing, and that'll account for several million more. I think there's going to be they're going to do a postmortem. They're already talking about doing an autopsy to find out what's going on in Miami-Dade, and they're being encouraged by their lawyers to pursue it. So they must have enough evidence from the exit votes that Biden won. So somebody had said all the readers got it wrong. I would argue that all the readers got it right, because if you look at what Linda G said, revealing light, Thoreau's Apprentice, who else do I look at? Becca, Sheila. Recently, I just started to follow Nines Thoreau. Yeah, she's quite good. We had a bit of a misunderstanding because I was dealing with a lot of stuff the other day, but actually it gave me an opportunity to check out her channel, and she's quite good. But when I look at all of those readers that I'm connected with, Rosie, I love Rosie, Violetta is great. We all were kind of picking up on the same thing, that Biden would win, that Trump would attempt to cheat, remember the last time we did the cards, we had victory dancing in the street, three of cups is the outcome, but remember what was in the fourth house? If you go back and look at you can go back and look at my stuff. It was the thief's card, an attempt to steal the election. So everybody was warned that this was going to happen, but people ignored that part, and they instead just focused on the prize, which was Biden's going to win, Biden's going to win, Biden's going to win. And then when we said it's going to come out exactly like this, and then everybody still had a panic attack about it. And I think that we're looking at a runoff in Georgia. And we should not rule out North Carolina just yet, because there are like 10% more votes to be counted, and it's predominantly Democratic votes. So it falls back into, when I scanned it, I saw that it had all gone blue, that Florida had gone blue, that Georgia had gone blue, and that North Carolina was iffy. The best way to describe North Carolina when I went in was green, in the sense that they would love to advertise their state as the new place for innovation and green economy. So that's something that the Republicans and the Democrats agree about in North Carolina. So because because when I went in, I met these, when I went into the energy, I met this energy of kind of like the 21st century young Republican who's got a master's degree in business and can see the writing on the wall and thinks that North Carolina would be a great place to grow marijuana. It's, in plain words, they're in touch with reality. So that movement happening in North Carolina is creating some really interesting alliances where, for example, you'll have young entrepreneurs coming in who are Republicans and they realize that there's money to be made in plant medicine. There's money to be made in hemp. And it will be interesting to see the merging, because the truth of the matter is most of us liberals don't know anything about business. So rather than fighting each other, it might be nice to have a merging like what we're going to start seeing in the new economy in North Carolina. They're not going to be blue, they're not going to be red. Let's all prosper together and save Gaia. Let's all go green. So I thought that was a beautiful energy to see growing up out of North Carolina. All right. Let's give some gratitude to people. I was told that we don't have nearly enough moderators and that it's creating way too much work for the moderators that do exist. So if you would like to be a moderator, that's someone that just looks at the comments and then deletes any racist comments. So if people are Trump supporters and they're Republicans and they're just giving a respectful opinion, that's great. We want diversity. But if people are abusive, then we have to, oh, hi, Sheila, guess what? Guess what, darling Sheila? We got it right. Oh, there you go. You're now a moderator. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Sarah, well, you've been all my life. Oh, I accidentally pinned you. Didn't mean to pin you. I meant to make you a moderator. Okay, where did she go? There she is. I'm sorry this is taking a while, but to keep everybody safe, we kind of have to do this. Oh, Sharon Lee. Hello, hello. Add moderator. It had been announced Biden won Penn. No, it's been announced that they're now beginning to count Philadelphia and Allentown, where Biden is taking 80%, and there's only 92% or something of the vote count or the precincts coming in. So the fact that the last 7 precincts are all Democratic strongholds where he's taking 80%, we know it's over. We had the exit polls results of 3:30 on Tuesday, which is why a lot of people were, which is why everybody was so calm, because they had already called everybody and confirmed, your vote has been received. So we already had that all completed. They were that organized in Pennsylvania. A lot of people don't know that. So everybody was kind of like, you want to go have a taco? But everybody else was freaked out. So the people that were on the Biden campaign were like, relax. Go have a cup of tea. Contemplate the ultimate reality, if you like. Also, it is a blue tsunami. If you think about the amount of voter suppression that took place, just in Georgia alone, there's probably going to be a major investigation. They're now looking at an investigation in Texas, and there's another one I heard about as well. But the main issue has to do with the votes that currently are being locked up in boxes by Republicans or haven't even left the mail facility. So I just think that people have to understand we did a lot better than we realize. I mean, like I said, the race in Georgia is a runoff. North Carolina Senate is too close to call. whether you like Susan Collins or not, she and Murkowski have vowed to protect Roe v. Wade and LGBTQ rights. So, and then we have Kamala as a breaking a tie. So we're going to be okay. The last thing I would say is that when I go into the meditations in terms of the relationship between that, I want to give a remote view. That was the thing that the main reason I wanted to talk tonight. If you go back to the remote views we had done, we talked about archetypes and how everybody was falling into various different archetypes. We talked about how Mitch McConnell's job was going to be, those of you who've been with me for a couple of years, that his job was the frightened knight who was going to be called to slew the dragon. Remember that he had taken on that kind of character, those of you who've been with me for a couple of years. He's a frightened knight that he will have to cut the head off the beast. I think some deal's been made. I think it doesn't surprise me that Putin's retiring. Because I'll tell you why. Because they're talking about extradition, and he's hiding out in a particular area. And we scanned that, and that there would be international trials. He's in a lot of trouble. He should go retire to an area they can't get him. Just like Nero, he's going to be held up, God knows where. They're going to do like forensics in Russia too. But anyway, so that was Mitch McConnell's energy. He came as the frightened knight who would be in a situation where it would be an inevitable thing that he would have to slew the head off the beast. At that point, you'll know he'll be done with Trump. But he will not be done with DT supporters. So they understand. Here's the thing also. And then the second remote I want to talk about is about Biden. Biden is the exact opposite of Donald Trump. Biden is the exact opposite. He's not a petty man. So when you go into the energy, you put yourself in Biden's shoes. I find myself saying, I'm not a petty person. I'm not a petty man. Everybody knows what they have to do. Gentlemen understand these things. Everybody knows what they have to do. Lindsey Graham is going to have that meeting in the Oval Office, hopefully before. They're going to have a lunch or something like that. And then Lindsey is going to have to give his makupa. He's going to have to do that. And then Biden is going to do what Biden is expected to do, which is to say, that was the past. Now we have to focus on the future. Let's get to work. So I think that is why Biden was really a good person to pick, because he is reasonable, he is polite, and he can get through to somebody like Lindsey Graham, because Lindsey Graham is easily manipulated. I think we learned that from this. He is, the archetype of the frightened, shamed 4-year-old child. And to be shamed in front of the new daddy is not going to be a pleasant experience. And I think that Biden will handle it quite well. In terms of his relationship with Mitch McConnell, I think there is a sense of peace about the relationship between Mitch McConnell and Biden. They know Biden. They know this man inside and out. They've gone to weddings, his wedding. I mean, they've had relationships with these people. So I think that Mitch McConnell feels that if something should happen to him, or if he should have to retire early, that the nation will be okay. I also think we're going to see a lot less resistance and a lot more cooperation between the executive branch and the legislative branch. I think because of the energy I'm picking up on Mitch McConnell, that if Donald Trump continues in this vein, he will be forcibly removed ahead of time. And that may be one of the reasons why we keep seeing Lindsey Graham having that conversation with the president. If Lindsey Graham has not had that conversation yet, that he must accept defeat. There are 2 or 3 people around him that are going to be able to have that conversation with him. And one of the people has to be Lindsey Graham. So, and there are reasons for that. His relationship with Mitch McConnell really feels complicated for me to get into as a professional intuitive. I just feel like it's multi-layered. I think that what happened for Donald Trump and what will continue to happen is a devastating shocking feeling of betrayal, that the Republicans turned their back on him overnight, and there's a new king. The king is dead, long live the king. And that shocking twist, which energetically, which we should be starting to see, it's probably going to be over by next week, energetically. Now, that doesn't mean Donald Trump isn't going to try and fight it but if he continues to act like that, there are people in positions of power now that know that we're going to be okay because they trust Biden, that will physically remove him if necessary. So his position went from being very, very powerful to nobody very quickly. It would be wise of him not to threaten Mitch McConnell. It would be wise of him to learn to calm down. And it would be wise of him to take the advice of the people in his campaign, the people that he trusts, and graciously accept defeat. And I don't even know if he's capable of it, to be honest with you, because we went into his psyche a couple years ago, and it's always come out the same, and that is that he is a loser, but he doesn't want anybody to know. He is the loser. One of the things we also felt when we went into just from an empathic perspective, that he was very angry at his mommy for leaving him, that, it was something that came up before Mary's book came out. And it was interesting because I saw in the remote that he is aping Fred Trump, who was heartless. Fred Trump's wife miscarried and was bleeding. She was hemorrhaging. She collapsed in the bathroom, lost the baby, wound up with sepsis and nearly died. This is, a horrific story. And little Donnie Trump was left by himself, terrified. And he's got his father, Fred Trump, finds her and says, there's blood all over the place. So that's the trauma. My mommy's going to die. There's blood all over the place. But instead of being comforted by Fred Trump, he's being yelled at. And Fred Trump is complaining about the fact that his wife is weak and sickly. And what's with this blood all over the place? So it's interesting when you go into that, when you analyze him from, energetically, that he's constantly trying to attack women like, you're weak. She's got blood coming out of. It's like, oh, yeah, the time your mother miscarried, almost died, bled all over the place. And then your father was complaining about it. And then you got abandoned for 6 months or a year. So it's just interesting to see how when we get a remote, and this is for those of you who are training to be professional empaths, who are training to, do spirit walking or however you want to refer to it, just in terms of the amount of empathy that you have to get to in order to really put yourself in the shoes of another person. And then it's very interesting as the empath. And I think this is why Carl Jung wanted to use it as a therapy, as a tool in therapy for professional therapists to learn how to do this so they can really understand their patient. And it was interesting to read Mary Trump's book because it explained the imagery and it explained why he was so frozen at that age. All right. Yeah, Fred Trump was not a nice guy. just not a good person. There's also a eugenic aspects. It was during the Holocaust, right? And you had eugenics as a science being taught, that the Aryans were strong stock, and you had ideas about the aristocrats were genetically superior to the poor people. And Mary had been a maid from a poor family in Scotland, and she was sickly. And so she was constantly reminded that she was genetically inferior, and that was why these things were happening to her. She was an inferior person. So it was also when you think about the psychological toll that must have had on this child, it's pretty sad. I don't think he was a spoiled child. No mother, a drunken lunatic terrorizing a 2.5-year-old child, not knowing what happens, frightened, wanting your mommy, and all you know is there's all this blood and she's been taken away. Oh, I think it would be horrifying. Well, he puts kids in cages exactly because he's frozen. And it's interesting also because when somebody freezes at the age of like 2 and 3, they haven't really developed certain, and they play ball, or they play like a 2 or 3-year-old, where I get to make the rules and you don't get to have any because you're not my friend, right? And so that's how voting works in his mind because he's 2-3 years old. So no, the voting stops there. The mail-in ballots aren't good because you're not my friends. You're not Republicans. You don't get to vote. You don't mail in ballots. Don't do that don't trust it if it comes from California, New York, but you could mail in the ballots in Florida. That's okay because you're my friends. Oh, they can't leave their houses because of COVID, but they're seniors, but they're voting for me. Okay, then you could come. You get to vote by mail, but not them because they're not my friends. So it's just completely. Oh my God. But that's a personality disorder, you know? It's funny and sad. I mean, if somebody, when he was 2.5 years old, having this happen, had just shown him some compassion, saying, I know it looks bad, but your mother's going to be fine. We're going to take you to the hospital and see her. I mean, if somebody had intervened when the initial trauma, and if it had been dealt with, he might have not been so, who knows? Yeah, the premonition dream that disturbs you all day is entering the multiverse. It's entering the dimension where the event has already taken place, but yet hasn't yet expressed itself in the physical world. An example of that would be, I was dating this guy, and I was working as a tarot reader, and I was a pre-med at University of Washington. And I was dating this guy who was very skeptical of readings and psychics and whatnot. And I woke up in the morning with a very disturbing dream. And I said, I had the most horrible dream with Princess Diana in it. And he said, well, you have kind of a connection. You used to model for so-and-so. And so it was a very strange thing. And I remembered in the dream that I saw the cliffs of Dover, and I was looking over the cliffs of Dover at Calais and over at France, and I saw all these guys on motorcycles surrounding her and carrying her off, and she had been pulled away. And it was and it was cloudy and dark, and I thought, this is just a really unpleasant thing. And I told my boyfriend the whole entire dream. That night she was dead. She had been killed in the tunnel in France. So it was an interesting thing to have happen between him and I, because he was, his parents were teachers, and he was very rational, and But it was just, but he, I have a science background too. So it was something that you just say, okay, this is a real phenomenon. We don't totally understand it, but certainly there's enough anecdotal evidence that there's something going on. So that was one of those experiences where I went into a remote and picked up the energy and carried back prior to the event. Okay, let's do a prayer. We'll go in and we'll do some blitzes. We're going to use a new deck of cards. I sometimes get lazy because the first deck I ever learned was the Universal Rider-Waite. And I love the Universal Rider-Waite, but I do think readers need to keep growing. So we're going to use the Morgan Greer. We'll do 3-card Monty, even though just so that everybody can see the cards. These are so fresh. Yeah, we're going to take Georgia. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, for our families, for the planet, for the people we love, and even to help those we may have strife with. And together, collectively, as a community, we say, Amen. Let's go in. The collective energy of the nation. Biden's going to win. 2 of Cups is moving in, which would suggest that he really was the perfect candidate. 2 of Cups, as I've talked about in the past, is the card that speaks of the sacred contract that you and I are in agreement with. I really feel that Mitch McConnell and Biden have decided to put the swords down because it is tearing the nation apart. There are ways that most people are good people with just misinformation. They're not bad people, the farmers in Iowa. They're just confused because their heads are being filled with stuff that's just, they just want to survive. They're not seeing the same things you're seeing. They don't have time anyway. They work huge hours, by the way. So 2 of Cups comes in that this is a time of healing. Fox News dropped Trump like a hot potato. We saw that coming. But that's okay, because now they're trying to promote the Trump media, right? So they've got to keep saying Fox bad, Fox bad, Fox bad. So come to Newsmax, come to Trump TV, where you can hang out and be as crazy as we are, and until the feds show up. And I don't know. So 2 of Cups would suggest that we're entering into a time of mutual respect, communication. We're also seeing the 6 of Wands moving in, as we know, 6 months. So here's the message from Spirit for everybody. America is done with the fighting. We're just done. We have got to come together as a nation and assume the best of everyone, even somebody who is mentally ill or misguided. And if they are, it's our responsibility to deal with it. But the point is that a 6 of Wands, if you read like I read, it's a 6-month period. So this is an opportunity for the nation, for all of us collectively, to check ourselves and realize that we can come together and we shouldn't have to ask a person's political party before we decide to help them. If it's a fellow human being that needs to be helped, regardless of where they're at, even if I don't particularly agree with you about certain things, it's this willingness to come together because we all share a common goal, which is that we all want the good life. We all want the good life. We all want our, unless we're crazy, most healthy people want the good life. They want their children to be loved and cared for, et cetera, et cetera. So 6 of Wands means we're going to have a repair time. It's probably going to take about 6 months. The good news is that 6 of Wands is also a card that has to do with victory or success. I sometimes will call it my Christmas card because you see a nice Christmas wreath as we march in 6 months. Give me 6 months, each one signifying a month. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to see the nation rebuilt. I think we're going to see Biden and the Republicans working strongly with the Democrats in ways we haven't seen for a long time to quickly quash COVID, deal with the economic disaster. And I think they're also going to come up with a new deal that Mitch McConnell is going to be okay with. That a lot of the resistance, Trump created a lot of resistance on both sides. People felt like they were pressured to take sides, even when they didn't want to take a side. Thank you so much, Joanne. It's very kind of you. So the truth of the matter is everything has to come out. And this is something that Kamala has talked about, Kamala Harris, that forgiveness and reconciliation is all well and good, but I need, that's all great, kumbaya. We'll let Whimsy go work on that or somebody else, but her job is different. Her job is that we need to see the documents. We need to see the files. We need to have the information so that we can heal, so that we can know the truth, so we can fix the problem. Oh, thank you, S. Kim. Good seeing you here. The truth must come out. The truth must come out. The high priestess, the great reveal. So the other thing there must be some agreement also that's going to be coming in where the Republicans remaining, everybody, that a lot of truths are going to come out. And I want to do cards on Mitch McConnell after this. The extremists in the Republican Party are going to try and create a fight. There's a division now starting to form. Those people who want to heal the nation and the crazies. And the crazies are about 20-something%, the ones that don't want to work with them. That's a problem that the Republicans and the Democrats together are going to have to work on, because you have a Knight of Pentacles here, and that's a stalemate over the Union. And it's because of resistance from the extremists. You have our success in 6 months, the clarification, the Three of Wands, which is the wish card, convincing people that it is good for them to work together so that we can all improve our financial situation, heal the nation, et cetera, et cetera. Selling it to the American people has to be the responsibility of both parties, and that's where we're headed. And the clarification on the high priestess is the Two of Wands, a strong partnership emerges. Oh, people want to know my information. Yeah, if you're trying to reach me, you can write me at whimsyanderson@gmail.com. I apologize, I'm not able to get to everybody who reaches out to me. Also, if you're interested in making an appointment to see me, I am a medical intuitive and a naturopathic doctor. That would be drwhimsy.com. If you need a reading, that's tarotwithwhimsy.com. Just give myself a little bit of a promo there. Thank you. Breaking for a little bit of a commercial. All right, so that's where we're at. And I agree with I'm really trying to get her name, Kamala. I agree with Kamala Harris that it's a problem that has to be addressed. It can't just be put under the rug. Voter suppression has to be a major issue addressed at cleaning up this kind of problems with integrity, and it has to be dealt with. Thank you, Chris. Oh, where are you from, Chris? Are you American? It's kind of cute. Georgia almost a dead tie going. No, I don't think he's going to. I don't think that Trump's going to win Georgia, because they're only counting I think they're mostly Democratic vote. All right, let's look at Mitch McConnell. Yeah, it's, but I like Biden's attitude, which is let's get to work. Do what you got to do, Lindsay. I was doing what I thought would be best for United. Okay, yeah, you wanted to unite the nation. Okay, he's not going to sit there and say, you betrayed your country. It's like, let's get to work. Let's get to work. Here is the first 100 days. Whimsy, stop. Stop what? That's right. So, Rory, yeah, that's basically the energy. But that's not Biden's job. Biden's good. There's good cop, bad cop. He's the nice, sweet guy that goes out and charms everyone. Everyone loves him. He can just charm the socks off of anybody. But the other people around him, they get to go after the bad people. And I think the more that people get to know Biden, the more he visits certain communities that have been hit by difficulties, his popularity will grow even more. That's right. Yeah, I said Georgia. Rump up slightly in Pennsylvania. No, Trump lost. We already know he lost because they called everybody who was Democrat to confirm and check if their ballot had been received, and they had the calculations by 3:30. That's why we already know it's over. But you have to still go through it's not going to be close enough, I think, for runoff. But to be recounted. But he can try. Thank you, gymnastics. That's very kind. Well, a lot more, people, I think that's the power of the media, right? You can convince people of anything. Oh, Bannon was shut down. I didn't know that. That's good news. Well, we can't really call PA. They might. It depends on the percentage. When Allentown and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and the college areas also haven't been counted, so that's why they know it's over. It's pathetic, And things are getting really narrow in North Carolina. Let's look at Trump's energy. He wants to make a fight. 5 of Wands. He wants to cause a riot. Fight for me. In plainer words, do what my mommy didn't do. Fight for me. Fight for me. Show you loyalty. You don't have a right to vote for me because you're not my friend. Thank you, Hope. My problem is I will often stop fighting and then the other person will get away with something, which is the history of my former relationships. I don't know how to stick up for myself. I can get manipulated and just start, and then the bitterness, and then you become a witch because you've been played, and the guy's just like, what did I do? It's just like, here we go again. I know I'm funny. Thank you. Yeah, they're starting their own network. God bless them. So Trump fighting. King of Cups comes in. So I think this is Mitch McConnell. Somebody is trying to come in and be the peacemaker or a mediation. Somebody is attempting to mediate. He's having to look at the stark reality that he's not going to be able to pull this off. You can see the Four of Pentacles, which I call the Buddha card. It's the close examination. It's the frugality card. It's also could be a fear that he's financially in trouble. So we'll do a clarification. Not good. Five of Wands sits with the Three of Swords. I think it's over for him. I'm concerned about potential death or violence during fighting. I really do think that could become a potential problem. Then somebody comes in to try and soften things, the King of Cups. Oh, actually, maybe that's Biden now that I think about it, because he's a Scorpio, right? And then the Nine of Cups comes. So Biden will very quickly, he and the Republicans will come together and say, let's just, the time has come to just come together. Because the mediator comes in, and then there's something about a King of Cups or an attempt by Biden to bring the nation together. The energy around Donald Trump is very disturbing, even to the point where he could be asked to leave early or could be physically removed. And it could be another reason why we always see an offer to resign. You remember when I said that we're going to be interviewing people who had voted for Donald Trump and then they changed their mind and voted Biden? And those people, we're going to want to talk to them. What was the thing that happened that made you switch your vote from Trump to Biden? And as I had said when I had done the meditations, I think it was a week or two ago, I felt as the Trump voter, his failure to lead in the time of crisis during COVID was what had caused me to change my vote. So the King of Cups, Biden gets his wish, the Nine of Cups. He's also the peacemaker. He'll go into media, the star. Best thing that happened to him was losing this election. He's a star. He's an entertainer. He was never meant to be a politician. He was never meant to be taken seriously. He's a clown. He's a comedian. He wants to be a Hollywood actor. He wants everybody to like him. He wants to be a star. He wants to go back to half of what comes out of his mouth. The only thing that's consistent about him in terms of his belief systems, because he's really got a personality disorder, is that he is a victim. He's a whiny victim, and everybody's always out to get him, and he's always the one getting the raw deal. What happened to my hand? I got off the trail, which you're not supposed to do, because I saw a large white mushroom, which I thought was a death cap. And I thought, you're not supposed to touch them, by the way, because they're that poisonous. I was like, I can't touch it. And I went tumbling down, because this is why sometimes, you want to know the truth, why sometimes I'm late calling people back when they have an appointment with me. It's because I've gotten sucked into something. Whether it's, oh, how does that work? Well, I'm a remote viewer. It's like I do the same thing in my job as a remote viewer. Like, how does that work? Who's that person? What's he saying? I'll just keep going at it, and I'll keep trying to figure out the energy and the tone. So sometimes I'll find something interesting, and I'll my mind will get sucked, and I'll be like, oh, I missed it. I got an appointment. It happens. Yeah, because I just love learning so much. Oh, thank you, Noel. By the way, hello, and thank you also to Dreamweaver, Dennis. Thank you as Denise, Brierly, for helping with moderating. I want to look at Florida, because Florida is being asked to hold ballots. The feds are going in. The last thing I was able to find out about it, it looks like if they don't begin, they have a certain time with which they have to certify. And if you're looking at Trump's past history, he's always delay. Oops, you missed it. So by the time these ballots are found, if they have up to, what did they say? It was up to 27% of Miami-Dade might not be accounted for. And then the return ballot rate was 51%, which didn't make any sense. And then there was an additional 300,000 that had been received by the post office that never got received to be counted. So there's multiple areas where the ballots are gone. 300,000 appears to possibly have run off from the post office. The people who voted in Dade, I think they had actual physical those are gone, and there's no way to find. It's a disaster. So they have to go in. If you'd like to read the article on the missing ballots from Miami-Dade, I have it in my comments section. Oh, Armando, thank you so much. Yeah, he's the great mediator that comes in. Okay, let's look at Georgia. Georgia for Biden. You guys, by the way, some of you had, I don't know who it was, they had some of the readers crying because the readers were like, but that was what we saw in the remote, or that's what we saw in the cards. Were they cool with you, Sheila? Or were people like, I just was like, well, I woke up, I had a cup of coffee, I was doing my thing. I checked the exit out of Pennsylvania because I knew Pennsylvania was important. They said that the exit polls, they had celebrated and opened up champagne even. And because they had confirmed, hi, this is so-and-so. Did you, okay, yeah, did you know you can check your number? Oh, you confirmed? They had done all of that, so they knew, okay, we're ahead 100,000. I think they had determined that I think they started to relax when they knew that they were ahead 100,000 when they had checked. So that's why we're just like watching everybody melt down. I was just like, okay, you guys, I love you all, but I'm just going to go away. I think that Linda G, I don't know, maybe she had the same feeling, like, okay, everybody, I'll come back, but everybody's just calm. And remember, Collins and Merkel are pro-choice, so it's not as horrible as everybody thinks. Okay, 9 is sick, and now 9 is sick. Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, we have to pray for her. A lot of people are just, but if it makes her feel better, we all got it right. Okay. So we're doing Georgia, right? Oh, it started off horrible. Look at that. 10 of Swords, and then fighting, and then it gives us a victory, Chariot. We're going to have to battle for Georgia. There's a battle coming. Lawyers, money, attempts at defeat. 6 of Cups, a bouquet being offered. And then the clarification, we're going to take Georgia. You can see the Magician, he makes it happen, and the Chariot who rides into victory. But there will be court battles. You guys, don't forget the first part. It's like, don't just run straight to, yay, we're gonna hit Georgia. No, you said we were gonna. Remember, we have to go through 10 of Swords, and money's gonna have to be spent. But then the bouquet comes to us. We're also gonna have to see a lot of fighting in Georgia if we're not careful. Then calm down. But in the end, Chariot is success in battle, and then Magician. Yes, that's exactly what Biden needs to do. Not because it matters that they take Georgia, because they don't need Georgia, but it's about the fact that we can't let democracy die, and that every single attempt at stealing the election, everything has to, DeJoy has to go to prison. All of that's going to happen. What I think is amazing about Biden is that they knew all of this was going to happen. They'd been talking with the FBI. The FBI was debriefing them. Unbeknownst to Trump didn't know that key members of the Republican Party saw the writing on the wall and were probably already sending love letters to Biden before the week of the election. But that's probably what was happening. I would be very surprised if Mitch McConnell was not somehow connecting with Biden. I'd be very surprised if that wasn't happening before all of this. Yeah, I want to just do DeJoy's. I don't think we've ever done. Do I think Arizona will stay blue? There's Trump has a chance, but I saw it blue. A patient came in today, or a person got a card reading, and she had a past placement. And when I looked at this card, I saw a very handsome Indian man in her past. And I was like, oh my God, who's the cute Indian guy? She said, oh, that's my ex-husband. She was like, oh, he used to be a Bollywood actor. I'm like, he's hot. It was kind of interesting that it actually showed up like that. Thank you, Barbara. DeJoy wants to take the fifth or not cooperate with the investigation. There's evidence showing that he coordinated it. He is going to have to leave the post office. He took a deal. You can see the devil there, over a refusal to cooperate. Also, that's justice denied, right? The blind, the swords, which can often denote justice. He's in trouble financially. You can see the Five of Pentacles moving in over a situation that had to do with his finances. So just the arrogance of these cocky people. I mean, it's just like they got so sure of themselves. He's in a lot of trouble. King of Pentacles, he was keeping secrets. Stuff's going to come out about him. They're actually going to investigate him beyond this. There's something about questionable money dealings. Something illegal, possibly illegal attaining of money or something. It's very strange. Oh, let me give gratitude to everybody. Thank you, Rory B. That was kind and deeply appreciated. And Barbara, of course. Always good to see you. How's everybody doing? How's everybody holding out? Is there something that people need me to look at that I didn't get to yet? Well, we want Biden to be announced, but if people are stealing elections, then they have to go. I mean, there has to be we have to have free and fair elections in the United States. So. Oh, let's look at Bannon. That's a good idea. I think Bannon is one of those creepy informants that can always stay out of prison because he's always giving dirt to the feds, and that keeps him out of jail, I think. That's what I've always felt about Bannon. He could slip out of this situation. He could be he could decide that he's going to lay low a little bit to leave what he has built. is almost like, okay, I'm out of here. It's a feeling like he's going to lay low, or that his energy could withdraw. With that, this is somebody who worked very hard to establish the politics of chaos. And the fact that we're starting his reading with the Nine of Cups leads me to suspect that he is walking away from that empire, or that there's something about that. Oh, yes, let us plant more trees. We definitely need to do that tomorrow. Page of Swords comes in as can be messages by air, communication. It can be spies. And it would also connect with what kept him out of jail for so long, this idea that he was going between or passing information. And then the Two of Wands, a partnership, information overseas. It's like double agent or something. I always get that with him. And it's so interesting that he pulled a card that is associated with spying. I think he could be a star witness in an upcoming investigation, and for that reason, he could get a deal and avoid prison, because we can see here coming in for his future. He leaves his empire and takes a deal. The Ace of Cups moves in. He gets his wish, the Ten of Cups, over the spy. Again, would indicate that he made some kind of deal with the feds to avoid prison. And then the thing that really, I think, typifies it for me as the reader is the final outcome over the partnership, or his relationship with the feds emerges as the Empress, which is, as we know, is the treasure trove. It's fertility, my cup over, it's the fertility card. So if this is regarding a potential prison going forward, he shuts down. I'm going to go ahead and interpret this as he shuts down shop, begins cooperating, and becomes a star witness, and he has a treasure trove of information about his former alliances. That's how I see it. There's a 12-year investigation, and this has come up before when I go into this energy, when I go into this, there were several investigations that were going on at the same time to attempt to infiltrate certain groups. Investigations that were looking at overseas money, the servers that were sending money to banks from Russia. There was a lot of corruption about money that was part of an ongoing investigation. The use of cryptocurrency to send funds, money overseas, tax stuff, attempts to overthrow the government, that sort of thing, working with foreign governments. I just want to look at that investigation in more detail, because it kind of will probably be opened again now that we are looking at a Biden presidency. And I think a lot of the other readers will probably want to start looking at that stuff again. We have a new beginning in the investigation, so it starts again. Thank you, Jennifer. That's very sweet of you. So, it's like Trump's worst nightmare. He thought the investigation, the Mueller report, that it was all behind him. He's going to have to leave, et cetera, et cetera. But unfortunately for him, when we're looking at the investigations, following the money, oh my God, this is going to get so bad for him. We can see here, in terms of the investigation, it takes on a new phase. I think that would be how I would interpret a Page of Rods coming in over this issue. And then with a Nine of Swords coming in, this could be someone facing prison. And this is going to make everybody dance. the final outcome is the Queen of Swords, Lady Justice. So, I don't even think the American people know that there's going to be a series of hearings. A lot of people are going to have to go and have to deal with this. This is going to be like open information from the feds. I think we should look at Barr after this. Oh, thank you, Nia. That's very kind. Yeah, the hidden coin, the hidden king. Nine of Wands, Nine of Swords. He has to leave. Queen of Swords over Justice. Six of Swords. He leaves. Over the River Styx. Oh, thank you, Marvel. I like that hook. I like the heart. All right. So the best way for me to interpret that is that Trump's problems are only beginning. I think that he is shocked that Mitch McConnell. That's the other thing that comes up in both in the remotes and also in the cards is that he's shocked by what he perceives of as a betrayal by the Republican Party. And that energy, when you go into it, see if you don't feel it yourself. You can just go ahead and pick your target. Say your target is Mitch McConnell. Maybe all the people that are training to be heart-centered remote viewers, we can have him be a collective target. But when I go into the target and put myself in his shoes, I feel like I am. I'm done with the president because I've gotten everything I wanted. And also, I don't have a long for this world. And we know Joe Biden, and we're relieved that he's the choice of the Democratic Party. So you would go into your meditation. And when you go into your meditation and, phase one, get yourself safe. Or step one, get yourself safe. Step two, get yourself relaxed. Three, when you get into your meditative state, open your heart, love yourself, and then expand your heart outward. And then find the target, love the target, become one with the target, and then attempt to see if the target will give you information. After you've sensed or received information from the target, you go to step 4, which is that you thank the target, you cut cords, you thank the target, release them. Step 4 is when you connect with the target. 5 is when you cut cords and release. So, yeah, it just feels like a huge betrayal. Trump feels a huge betrayal. I think that he truly thought the Republicans liked him. And I think that we're going to see some interesting emotional changes, probably even before Monday. Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Oh, good to see you. Yeah, Barr is next. Okay. William Barr. He's trying to hide and protect things. He's defending his territory. You can see the 7 of Wands, 3 of Wands, waiting for his ship to come in, and the Devil. So something has him that he's being secretive. He's doing sneaky little dark things behind the scenes. He's being quite mischievous. They say he's making trouble. He's making trouble. Two of Cups. Six of Cups. He's going to be asked to leave. You can see an offer there, Six of Cups. His reaction, Ten of Swords. Final outcome under the Devil. Page of Rods. He's going to be released from he's going to start a new road, released from whatever this was. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. So he's going to be asked for his resignation. The Six of Cups. That's not fired. You're being polite with the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is like, here, I'm giving you the honor of leaving. Kind of like what they're going to do with Trump. North Carolina Senate. Yeah. I can't remember what's the name of the person that we're doing? No, the Supreme Court is not going to interfere. Kavanaugh was laughing at Trump. It's like, you got to be out of your mind. Of course, we're not going to support this. It's like, are you insane? Oh, yeah, you are insane. But thanks for the job. But no. I don't think anyone on the court would support him. Maybe it would be 2-7. Maybe, but I see him starting a new life and being freed from this, whatever this was, and I see him hiding information and being deceptive, and I see Biden asking for his resignation. Yeah, I think that Lindsey has always been the one, because his relationship with Mitch McConnell is over. Mitch McConnell's job was to cut the head off the beast. He had to be in the end, he was going to have to be the one to say, this party's done with you. We're moving on. We're connecting with Biden. We're going to create an alliance. We're going to start getting some work done. The American people are exhausted. We can't do this anymore. You got to go. And it's like, it just goes back to what Lindsey Graham said in the remote a couple months ago. That's politics. It's like, what did he say? He used baseball imagery once when we did the remote. He said, there's no crying in politics. I mean, he's got an attitude. You just got close to Trump. His argument to defend himself when this is all said and done is that he thought that he could help unify the nation, but he only made things worse. I think we're going to close because we've been hanging for over an hour. I just wanted to say hi to everybody. It's nice to see so many people took time out of their day to hang out with me. And I'm humbled, and it's just very kind of you to come spend the evening chatting and playing cards. I also want to give special gratitude to everybody that was kind enough to moderate tonight. And last, thank you to the lovely people who've been sending cards and gifts. I did get the mask, and I will be sending a thank you to everybody who sent cards. And thank you, Glory. I did receive the check. All right. Love and light to everyone. Love and light. Thank you so much. I think before we close, we'll go ahead and let the moderators pick a couple more questions, and then we'll close it out. I'm sure there are other people that are online right now. Maybe we can get Becca or Sheila to go live. Okay. What are we doing here? We did do one on Collins already, Sheila, and I did do a remote. I asked if somebody who had voted for Collins would come in. So when we did the remote on Collins, I got a gentleman that said, oh, we all know her. In plainer words, the takeaway that I got from that was that she genuinely presents as someone who cares about her constituents. She will go to their weddings. She will attend their events, and she will take the time to really check in on them. And this has been going on. There are people that know Susan, they call her Susan, that have known her we know her, my parents know her, my kids know her, everybody loves her. And so, yeah, we don't agree on her about everything, but we understand why she did it. And she's Maine. She cares about Maine. So there was a feeling of this is the same thing we saw with Lindsey Graham, and what we saw mostly with Lindsey Graham was that they've had years and years and years to develop relationships with people. People know them. People personally know them. Businesses, families, etc., and that over time creates a lot of loyalty that's really hard to usurp. It's really hard to break free. That's why I think what Jamie Harrison did was so incredibly remarkable, because he was a African American man in the South, and he was able to achieve that when the Democratic Party really had not given him the support that he needed. And had the Democratic Party shown more support earlier on, it's very likely he would have won that race. I really believe that. So great. He did great for a first time, and I think he'll do even better the second time, because now people know him. All right. So did we have any questions from the moderators before we close it out? Okay. Ossoff. I think he is going to be in the runoff because it's below 49 for Purdue. But they say Purdue's probably going to pull it off. He's definitely favored. Let's take a look. I'm wrong. Oh my God. You know, if there's a runoff, it's going to go Democratic, and you want to know why? How do you pronounce his name, by the way? Now we break for a quick commercial, but while Dr. Whimsy figures out how to pronounce this guy's name. Ossoff? Is that how you say it? Ossoff, okay. The Lady Justice is coming. So the other guy was a crook, right? He was under criminal investigation. So what happens is if Ossoff, is that how you pronounce it? If there's a runoff and this starts to come out and he has to leave, because look at this. You have the Queen of Swords, Justice coming, King of Swords. Also, these are Justice cards and Queen of Wands. So the authorities and the courts are going after the opposition that ran the Republicans in trouble, and he's in trouble with the courts. He's in trouble with the people. He's in trouble with authorities. He's in trouble with female leadership, specifically, but leadership. He's in trouble with the Republicans, the conservative male, the Ice King. He's in trouble with the justice. Oh my God. I don't think when this guy was running, when he was running against Ossoff, they didn't know all this stuff was going to come out. But by the time the runoff happens, if a runoff happens, it's going to all explode just like it did for the guy in Alabama. That's what I think. Isn't that crazy? Be patient. We must learn patience. Strong female leadership is on it. He's in trouble and people are coming after him. Look at that. Sandwiched between two strong female archetypes and a very strong male archetype, the Ice King coming in. He's toast. What was his name is Purdue? Awful cards. He needs a lawyer. Yeah, and by the time that everybody finds out about that, if there is a runoff, it's going to, first off, with those cards, I wouldn't be surprised if he had to leave the race and just forfeit it. That's how bad his cards were. All right, I think that's it for tonight. Okay, everybody. Oh, Ivanka. Okay, Noel. It's for anything for you, Noel. All right, Ivanka and Jared, and then we'll say goodbye. They lost, and they know they've lost this. They know. They have lost the battle. They drop the sword. They walk away. In plainer words, Ivanka and Jared know it's over. Trump may not know it. He's up on the ledge screaming, I won this thing. I know Jared's like, we need to go in and do ABC. Somebody must have talked reality to Jared and Ivanka to have a 5 of swords coming in, which leads, I keep seeing Monday being critical. I think that people can march into courts all they like, but if you have a 5 of swords opening up your card reading in a 3 card, if that's how the conversation is starting, well, we're leaving. We lost. Okay, well, good luck to you. And then 6 of Pentacles comes in. They'll have to pay the courts paying this, possibly facing a fine. And then 3 of Swords comes in the grave. Clarification. Dirty dealings in money. Walking away, an expose about something to do with finances or how he garnished himself, his coin. Then over the issue of the scale of justice, the 6 of Pentacles, the righting the wrong, the Queen of Cups, his wife is going to be subpoenaed and have to do another deposition, I think. I don't know who this is. If it's one of Trump's sons, then he's in a very bad a mental state in the coming weeks. He sees this as a personal failure. If this is Don Jr., he's got a 3 of Swords. It's not good. So his mental health is also questionable in the coming days. Bannon said that? Well, Bannon's not going to be saying anything because he's going to be spilling his guts to the feds to keep out of jail from what our cards showed, because his final outcome was the Empress. I've always thought he was an informant anyway. All right, in Israel, Kay Nelson, you're in Israel? Well, then I would say Boker Tov, good morning, and Laila Tov from Portland, which is good night. And I will see everybody soon. Love and light. If you're still trying to get in for a reading, you can go to whimsy.com. All right, we'll see you later, everybody. Be well. Thanks a lot.